Carnation Love, Chapter 22. Preparation for Impending Battle. As the king charged his people to stand fast with vigilant eyes, he called for immediate action. His commands were clear, and the citizens were tasked with preparing the kingdom for the impending battle. Messages were swiftly dispatched to the barbarians, bearing the king's request for a meeting to discuss a potential alliance against their common enemy. The missives were delivered under a banner of peace, acknowledging the past grievances and the shared threat that now loomed over both kingdoms. At the same time, Prince Alistair, driven by a newfound determination, summoned his sister, Lady Isabella, to the palace. With haste, he relayed the king's words and the urgency of the situation. The fate of their realm rested on their shoulders. Lady Isabella, as fierce and capable as her brother, wasted no time. She dispatched messengers to every corner of their land, delivering the king's message to all soldiers and the males of every home. The call to action was clear. They were to move into intensive training immediately to prepare for the impending conflict. The kingdom was a hive of activity as men and women alike heeded the call to arms. Soldiers honed their skills, and families put aside their daily routines to support the war effort. The once divided kingdom was gradually uniting in the face of a common threat. As days turned into weeks, and training intensified, the king and his council continued to work on diplomatic efforts to secure the alliance with the barbarians. The future was uncertain, but the unity of the kingdom, bolstered by the efforts of its people, offered a glimmer of hope in the face of adversity. Chapter 23. Princess Alara Earns Trust. 5 long months had passed since Leo's escape into the dense woods in search of Princess Alara. Despite his tireless efforts, he couldn't pick up her trail until one day he spotted a piece of her dress, torn and snagged on a thorny bush in the heart of the woods. Desperate to find her, Leo carefully examined the piece of fabric. He realized that it might have been torn off as she tried to navigate through the dense forest. Uncertain about which way to go, he decided to climb a tall tree, hoping to get a better vantage point to survey the woods. As he reached the treetop, Leo's keen eyes spotted a distant plume of smoke rising into the sky. It was a sign of civilization or, at the very least, some form of activity. He made a decision and descended from the tree, setting off toward the east, following the direction of the smoke. However, his path was not clear for long. As soon as he reached the forest floor, Leo found himself surrounded by a group of barbarians. They emerged from the shadows, their eyes filled with suspicion and curiosity. Leo knew that he was outnumbered and that these were not just any foes, they were skilled fighters. With a deep breath, he decided not to put up a fight. Instead, Leo raised his hands in surrender. He hoped that by showing his willingness to cooperate, he might find a way to communicate with them, perhaps even discover the whereabouts of Princess Alara. Leo, trying to be clever, shouts out, "And what do I owe you, mighty skill warrior?" hoping to win their respect, but that didn't work for Leo. Now before he could say another word they knocked him out, bound him and took him as a prisoner. Upon arriving at the barbarian village, there was an uproar due to Leo, the new prisoner. Their leader emerged and asked, "What is this?" One barbarian responded, "We found him in the forest and took him as a prisoner." The leader said, "Bring me a pail of water," and he doused him with it. Then, Princess Alara appeared and inquired, "What do we have here?" As she approached the crowd, someone explained, He's a prisoner we found in the woods, my princess." Now the barbarian responded to Alara as princess because, over the same 5 months, Princess Alara had worked her way deep into the heart of the barbarian clan with her kindness and her skills as a cook. Her genuine nature had endeared her to the barbarians. They began to see her as their princess, respecting her for the person she was rather than her title. In this strange twist of fate, she had earned a place of trust and importance among those whom her kingdom had once considered their enemies.